How's it going? Sorry, a little bit behind here. Try to get this brighter. So what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to Shop Talk Tuesday. We're going to do a little bit of a Q&A session tonight, just like we normally do. And first of all, why don't you leave a comment and tell me where you're chiming in from while I get situated. What's up, DK? Craig, what's up, Craig? Nah, it doesn't seem like just you. Seems like we got about 13 people on so far. Man, look at my face. I am burnt. Nancy says, Nancy from Oregon. Howdy. How you doing, Nancy? Troy, Lafayette, Louisiana. Love the videos. Learning a lot. Appreciate that, Troy. Later from Williams, Arizona. Excuse me. Linda, watching from, how do you say that? Chulota, Florida. I don't know how to say that. Sorry. From Florida. Mel Jeffrey says, I feel your pain. Chad says, hey, y'all. David Pond from, man, I can't, Ponchatoula, Louisiana. DK says, oh, yeah, you got toasted. I really did. At work, a forehead, everything. Linda says, pretty close. Diane says, hey, from Gloucester, Virginia. What's up? Man, right around my neck of the woods. How's it going? We're pretty close. Los Angeles says, hey, now, brother from the Adirondacks. What's up? Bill says, hey, from Williamsburg, Virginia. What's up, Bill? Later says, love my table. Thanks to you. Hey, no problem at all. Mel says, Toronto, Canada. What's up from Virginia? What's up to Canada? How's it going? And Philip says, from Sacramento, California. Well, how are you guys doing this evening? I'm glad that you guys came to join me here tonight. We're going to talk. Really, tonight's going to be a big Q&A session. We're going to go over a few things like the cheapskate challenge, like the 2x4 challenge we saw a couple videos ago. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. If not, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Real quick, if you noticed, I went to Worldwide Burl. They're on Instagram and they have like these 24-hour auctions. And so I won another burl off their auction. These things are super cool. So you can see what size it is. Was it upside down? There we go. 16 by 15 by 2.5. These are really cool. I think this is about 40 bucks. Not too bad at all, not for a burl. And if you remember that big piece of burl that we're going to do a coffee table or something out of, I needed a little bit more space. I didn't want so much epoxy. Oh, I didn't want to be more epoxy than wood. So I got another piece of maple burl to fill some extra spots. So if you guys go to Instagram, go to Worldwide Burl on Instagram, they have some pretty cool auctions on there. And they're not like, I'm not getting anything from them or whatever. They're not a sponsor. So just, I thought they were pretty cool. So you can go check them out. Dustin Bryle says, AKA a tree pearl, as I learned recently from a wise guy that I know. That's right, man. What's up, Dustin? Bill S says, I have several pieces of those maple burls from those guys. Super cool. Yeah, sorry, pick my teeth. I'm sorry about that. We cooked out on the grill right before this, Had some steak and corn and some salad. It was nice. Um, Wiley says, "Sup, dude? I'm late. It's all good. How you doing? How you doing, young Lee? How's it going?" So yeah, back to the cheapskate challenge, 2x4 challenge. If you guys aren't aware of what's going on, where Goodview Woodworks is hosting a challenge. We're going to be giving away a T-shirt and some pigments. Your choice, whoever wins. And the rules are you have to use a 2x4. It can be more than one 2x4, but you have to use at least 2x1 construction grade 2x4 in your project. So it can't be just used for the form. And it has to be epoxy. So there has to be epoxy and a 2x4 used in the final product. So you make whatever you want. Those are the only two real rules. And we will be closing the contest on July 3rd. And then the next video after that, we'll be choosing a winner. So how it's going to work is we're going to, I'll choose the top three. And then we'll do a poll and let you guys choose the actual winner. How's that sound? Sound good? So that's as far as the cheapskate challenge goes. Also, I just finished up a project which we won't be showing a video on because it seems like as far as channel goes, if it doesn't have epoxy, you guys don't care to watch too much of it, which is fine. But starting this week, we have two big projects coming up. We have the dining room table with the big white oak slabs, and we have the black cherry computer desk. Excuse me, computer desk. So the wood is not black cherry. We're just gonna we have a cherry slab with some black epoxy that's gonna be going into it. It's gonna look sweet. Patrick Hallman says, "I'd love to see it." Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Nancy says, "If you use fluorescent pigment, then put a flood coat over it, will it charge enough to glow using stone coat?" Yeah, for sure. I wish I could show you, but on this particular piece right here, right along the riverbanks. Let me see if I can find the strip, like right along the riverbank right here, and here. There's glow epoxy in there, and man, if I put this up to the light, there you go. You can see it better there. See this line? That's glow epoxy, and it shines super brightly. So this has a flood coat over it as well. So yeah, there's no problems with the fluorescent and the clear. So great question. Chad says, "My challenge to you is use Black Forest Deep." Man, you know what, Chad? I would love to use Black Forest Deep. I might have to just go ahead and get some of that for myself and see how it works. Would you guys be interested in that? Would anybody else be interested in see what their product is like? Do you guys know who Black Forest Wood Company is? Yeah, they're great. NDK Lawson says, "Good day from South Africa. What's up? How's it going?" Nancy says, "Thank you, no problem." And Richard says, "Basement Woodworks here. How you doing, Nathan?" I'm doing pretty good. Richard, how you doing? Bill says, "Yes, Black Forest." Okay, we'll definitely have to get some of those. Eric says, "Hey Nate, have you ever incorporated wood inlays into a metal frame? Will epoxy bond with metal?" I have never, but I have seen people do it. And same thing with any kind of metal or any other, like even if you had hardened epoxy, you want to sand it, scuff it up so that it will bond. So it will, yeah, it will work. Jennifer says, "Hey Nathan and good viewers. What's up, Jennifer?" Chad says, "Yep, I follow them too." Nick says, "Sup Nathan, how you guys doing?" What's going on, Nick Garza? How's it going? Yeah, so we're doing good. as far as the epoxy goes, I do have, before I forget, I also have another thing that I want to talk to you guys about. So, as far as having my own epoxy goes, I know this is going to be kind of crazy. Logistically speaking, from going through, I am not prepared yet with my setup to have my own epoxy. However, we will be working with Incredible Solutions together. And maybe in the next, I think it'll be about 6 weeks, we will have a co-brand. Pretty much like, if I could guess, it'd be more like Incredible Solutions has a Good View, a Good View solution or something like that, which would be some of Good View Edition epoxy. So I think we're going to do it that way until I get big enough where I can kind of do all the logistics stuff with having my own brand. But until then, we'll have some great epoxy for you guys to check out. I'm considering going wholesale with Incredible Solutions because I like their stuff, and that way you can get it from my website as well. Linda says, to buy just one electric handheld planer or a planer, says, or a planer DIY for a router using router sled. And where did you get the burl? One more time. Okay, so Linda, it's Worldwide Burl on Instagram. You can just find them and then it'll have directions on there. But essentially, you just place a bid and they'll direct message you if you win, and you give them your PayPal information. They send it right to you. It's super easy. And as far as an electric handheld planer, I have one of those. They work great. Also, and the router and router sled. The best thing to do for a router, build your own sled. It's super easy. Mike over at Stone Coat Countertops also has a router sled that you can buy. It's about $300. Really nice, by the way. Very nice setup. But you want to get a higher horsepower router for planing stuff down, maybe like a 2.5 horsepower or something like that. And you want a 1/2 inch collet. And what that means is that it'll accept a 1/2 inch shank bit size. So that's what you're looking for. Great questions. Hemlock Homestead says, hi Nathan, glad you're on. I've been trying on a small project based on what I've learned from you. It seems that when I remove bubbles from the flood coat with a torch, more bubbles are produced. Okay, great question. So I do have a question for you, Hemlock, and that is, how many seal coats did you do on the surface before pouring the flood coat? Just so I can kind of understand where you're coming from. I usually do between 2 and 3 seal coats because sometimes wood is porous. Sometimes wood is porous, and sometimes it takes a little bit more to soak up before you can do your flood coat. Usually when bubbles are produced, that means that I didn't seal it well enough. Richard says, is your daughter's nightlight coming along better than your mom's? Hey, Richard, I appreciate that. Oh, man, that's hilarious. So, yeah, it got put on the back burner here just because, Richard, so we got a few paid projects coming up where, somebody puts a deposit in, that kind of gets scooted forward ahead of Esther's nightlight. So she will be getting it. But yeah, it did get pushed back a little bit. Great question. I appreciate that comedy. Aaron Hungay says, hey there, fella. What's up, Aaron? Hemlock Homestead, just one. Yeah. So Hemlock, yeah, sometimes I do 2 to 3 seal coats. So that's what I would recommend. Next time, do 2 to 3, and you should be much better along. So what I would do is your flood coat that you're working on now, where you're getting bubbles, go ahead and let it cure, sand it down, and do another one. Michelle Anna says, wish I had some questions. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Okay, let me block this thing right here, this nasty message. Sorry about that. We had some people coming on here and putting inappropriate messages. So yeah, sorry, Bill. Bill says, "Wow, seriously, yeah." Sorry about that. People are crazy. That happened last time I was live streaming. That's what happened last week. It's crazy. Michael says, "Yeah, good block." Yeah, that's right. So Philip says, "How do I test my colors before mixing in resin?" That's a great question, and I do that. I do this quite often. I'll just get an empty water bottle, something that's clear, and I'll put a little bit of water in it, and then I'll take just a little bit of pigment and put in there and swirl it around, and it kind of gives you a really good idea of what it's going to look like. So if you guys remember the yacht table that I did, it's the river table that has the green river going through it. It's actually rainforest green metallic, Crater Lake blue metallic, and copper metallic mixed together. Those three to get the shade of green that we were going for. And that's what I did. I took a water bottle and I mixed a little bit here and there, and then kind of adjusted that into a bigger size for the 12 gallons that we poured. So that was a great question. Bill S says, "Not your fault. No need to apologize." Okay, yeah, appreciate that, Bill. So hopefully, Philip, hopefully that answers your question. It seems to work well with me, and so it worked well for me. So try that and see what you come up with. Philip says, "And do I need to put silicone on the bottom of a wood slab?" Okay, so Philip, so I guess what you're saying is, um, if you were to put silicone on the bottom, you're afraid the epoxy is going to seep under. But what I do is I don't put silicone on the bottom of the slab, and the reason is it the epoxy will seep under the slab. I mean, you're going to clamp it down, but it also gives it a chance to soak in and stabilize the wood a little bit better. So I over pour my rivers and I let them seep under the slab. I just find that even though it seems like you're wasting epoxy, that it really does help seal the wood and give you a better finish, a better product in the finish. So, um, John says, "Hey Nathan, how's it going?" What's up, John? Uh, Aaron says, "Hey, have you looked into sculpted panels? I just out in a big order with them for some wall art pieces." Aaron, no, I've never seen sculpted panels and I've never heard of it. So can you let me know? Yeah, I'm interested. Chad says, "Agreed." Bill S says, "Do you prefer metal legs with river tables / benches, or do you prefer matching wood style leg?" Yeah, that's just my preference is wood is metal legs. I just like the way they look, but wood legs are just as good. Um, Jennifer says, I did a color rest with clear Elmer's school glue. I can barely afford the epoxy. Didn't want to use it for testing." Oh, there you go. Oh, so you did a color test with clear Elmer's glue. That's a good idea too. Nick says, "Hey Nathan, I'm working on the base of my table. I'm making and I stain the beam, and after it dried, it looks like it has gray tint over it. Do you know if when I put polyurethane on, will it go away?" Hmm. I don't know about that. Hey Nick, could you send me some pictures to my Facebook or Instagram or my website, however is easiest for you? Jennifer says test. Yeah, sorry about that, Jennifer. Aaron says, "Check it out. It's basically MDF that has a textured design, uh, that's carved into it with a CNC." Oh, yeah. I mean, that's cool. Aaron, so like, have you done one yet? I'd like to see some pictures, but I can look it up. That sounds pretty cool, though. No, I haven't seen it, but it does look pretty cool. Hey Nick, so as far as that blue tint or that gray tint, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. And Philip says, "Thanks. I'm pouring my resin this weekend." Yeah. Hey, Philip. So just a couple things to keep in mind. I don't know if you've got it all set up. How much are you pouring? If you're pouring something with a big mass, I would just recommend getting some fans and put on there and slow down because it's hot. It's hot here. I don't know where you are, but it it's hot outside. Unless your shop is climate controlled, it'd be best just to have some fans on it so it won't crack or bubble or anything like that. Um, so, man, I'll probably be posting some pictures. If you guys haven't been over to my Instagram, I really need to step it up there. So you can go over there if you haven't been over there. It's Goodview Woodwork at Goodview Woodworks, and I'm picking up a slab. It's a big burl slab from Woodcraft of Richmond, and um, we're going to be making that podcast table out of that. So I'm really excited for that piece. I have to show you some pictures. I'll post them up later on Instagram. So if you guys want to check them out, you can over there. Michael says, question. I used a 2-to-1 resin for the river, but chickened out and just used Minwax to finish. If I want to flood coat and top coat the next one, do I use the same epoxy but with a 1-to-1 mix? Great question, and the answer is no. So you totally can seal coat it with the 2-to-1 mixture. However, it will take a long time to set up. It'll take days to set up. Really what you want to use is a tabletop epoxy. So if you use a 2-to-1 resin, which is the thicker casting epoxy, usually, you want to use a casting epoxy for the river, and you want a tabletop or countertop epoxy for the flood coat for the surface for top coating. Great question. Aaron says, I'll post a picture in the next week. Working on a few jewelry box orders right now for a furniture company. Hey, right on, Aaron. Making that money. Nick says, I'll try and get you some pics, and it's really hot here in Fresno. 105 today. Wow. And the rest of the week. Oh my word. Wow. I've been to California a few times. Been to Sacramento, and I have been to San Francisco. I will say, San Francisco, I was really surprised how cold it was there. I thought it was gonna be warm, but it was like 60 the whole entire time I was there. Jennifer says, looking forward to more Instagram posts. I don't Facebook. Okay. All right, Jennifer, I appreciate that comment because, yeah, I don't know what you guys use, and I'm trying to do my best to keep up with all the social medias, and it's very difficult sometimes. But I do enjoy posting on Instagram, so I'll do my best to post there. John says, how do you protect your resin top coat from dust and bugs while it's drying? I just made a cover for mine from strips of wood covered with a polyethylene sheet. John, yeah, great question. That's exactly what I do. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really have an issue with bugs or dust getting in my top coat, but I have had it before, and usually I just sand and buff it out with a buffer to bring back the shine. But totally, what you can do, make a cover. I've done that before. I've taken a clear tote and sat it right over the top, let it cure, and it did great. Sorry about that. I had a text. If you've seen Renee Porter on here on the chat, usually you got to tell her to say, stop texting during our live stream. She should know it happens the same time every week. Oh, man. As far as that wood burl piece goes, I'm pretty excited, man. I wish I could show you guys. If you got, like I said, check out Instagram later. I'm gonna post a picture, and I'll probably put it on Facebook. Have you guys been over to? If you haven't been over, go over also to Facebook if you haven't yet, and just log on and go over to the Goodview Woodworks community group, and answer the 2 questions. You can get in there and you can post some pictures and do all the things over there. So we'd really like to have you. It's a private group just for people who want to learn epoxy and post pictures and share all those things. I would really appreciate if you guys went over there and request to join. And so we'll post some pictures there as well, so you guys can see. Bill S said, "Oh, I want to ask about the fiberglass pour you did. What was the ratio you used to get the fiberglass to not sink and get lost?" Uh, hey Bill, I'm not sure what you mean. I don't remember doing the fiberglass one, but maybe you mean the carbon fiber board. Um, so let me know if that's what you mean. Oh, okay. Yeah, Bill says yes, the carbon fiber. Uh, I have no idea what the ratio was. We just went for it. Like we just kind of sprinkled around. I will say we did it in 2 pours. And so what we did first was we just took some epoxy and took some carbon fiber and just kind of mixed it together and made it was very, very thick, like super thick. And we just kind of squished it into the corners and let it sit. And then after it started to harden, we came back with clear and poured over top of it. Um, Aaron says, "I got some automotive wax used as polish. What do you use for the polish? The last project I did wasn't as shiny as I wanted." Yeah, so that's just what I use. I use an automotive grade buffing compound, and then I use a wax over top of it as a polish. But what the trick is, Aaron, is to get an actual buffer that can go a little higher speed, and you want to sand to about 800 grit. That's about as far as you need to go. 1,000 would do pretty well. Work your way up through the grits to about 1,000, and then you really get your buffing compound with a foam pad. Work the buffing compound in, and then after you do that, then you can go back with your automotive polish and use your wool pad and really buff it up, and it'll come back just like automotive paint. Uh, so hopefully that answers your guys' questions. But yeah, the automotive stuff works wonders, really good. As far as a buffer, I just went on Amazon and got that. I don't know what brand it's called. WEN. Um, and so it was like, I don't know, $50, something like that, $60, and it works great. Aaron says, "God, I didn't use a pad with the compound. I used a buffer with wax only." Yeah. I think we have to. It kind of how if you were to shine up a clear coat on a car, very similar. You want to use a buffing compound first. Or have you ever restored headlights? Maybe if you get a headlight restoring kit that has similar steps, can you buff it with the buffing compound and then hit it with the polish later. What does that say? Law of Love says, "Hi, once you polish and send to the customer, how should they maintain their table shine?" Thanks. That's also a great question. But they need to maintain it. First of all, it depends on how long it's been since you poured the epoxy, but it needs to sit for about 30 days. Tell them to not put it into use, to regular use, and for 30 days. Um, but all you have to do it would be the same as maintaining like a wooden tabletop. Just make sure that you use like cleaners like Windex or something to clean it off like that, and try not to scratch it up, things like that. It's pretty much the same thing you would do with a wood tabletop. The shine shouldn't go away either. But if you wanted to, they could always send it back to you to buff it up, make it shiny again in the future. Hey, Philip says, "If I'm pouring 2 gallons, how many pours or thickness at a time?" Hey, Philip, what brand of epoxy are you using? Whatever brand that you're using, whether it's Total Boat or good, I'm gonna say Good Viewers. Incredible Solutions or what have you, whatever brand it is, they do have a manufacturer spec on there to see to show you how thick you can pour at once. But most thick pour epoxies are between 1 and 2 inches max. Some are up to 2 inches, and some are only up to 1 inch max. Chad says if you use 1 or 2 fans, you can pour all at once. That's right. Chad's right. But as long as you have the correct. Okay, Philip says Incredible Solutions. Man, awesome. So yeah, you could pour those all at once. If the ambient temperature in the room is like 70 degrees, you could just pour it all at one time, fill it all the way up, and you should be good. I haven't had any issues so far. But make sure you put a fan on it though. Larry says, hi from San Diego. I just did my first resin project. I tagged you in my Instagram. It's for the 2x4 challenge. I would appreciate it if you could check it out. Thanks. Hey, Larry, appreciate that. I will go look at that as soon as we're done with the live stream here. But for sure, I'll enter. You'll be the first entry into the 2x4 challenge. So appreciate it. I'm excited to see it. Bill S says, shipping of coffee table or dining table to a buyer, who would you recommend we use on the peninsula? I shipped a 24-inch round table and it was ridiculous. Well, really, I mean, UPS is very expensive. To be honest with you, I always shop around because the prices vary. And so there's another guy I was working with, and he tried to use like DHL, something like that, and had a few issues with them banging things up. So yeah, shipping is kind of ridiculous, but really, when it comes to shipping, people have to understand, the customer has to understand, especially if they're far away, that there are going to be some shipping costs with it. And I usually just add it into the price of the table. So, they don't really know what the shipping is. You just have to get that information, like their zip code or something, early on so you can calculate shipping. I usually just add it into the price. So that way they don't really worry about it. Great question. So Chris says, best way to attach a river table to a wood base. Want to have extra support to keep flat, but don't want to use C channels as it will be see-through, be clear epoxy. Okay, so or translucent. So that's a good question. What I use to attach it to a wood base are wood inserts. And I drill the holes in the base, and I usually use 1/4-20 wood inserts, and then I use this 1/4-20 hardware to install the legs. The thing though with translucent epoxy is sometimes you do see the base through the epoxy. That's just part of it sometimes, especially with clear tables. I kind of like it though. I kind of like, obviously you don't want to see the hardware because you don't want to see like the little threads from the screw, but seeing the base through it is kind of cool sometimes. DK says, what number should I look for when it comes to moisture content in your wood? Thinking of working with resin. Chad says 16% and lower. Yeah, DK, I would even say that 16% is a little on the high side for moisture. I usually go 12% lower. Worst case scenario is 13, but if Chad has had experience with 16 and been okay, you might be okay there. I always worry about moisture content though, because it tends to have weird reactions with the epoxy, like bubbles and stuff like that. So yeah, just keep that in mind. The lower, the better. That's right. DK says as low as possible. That's right. Ross says, I saw something neat today. A cabinet front poured with slabs of wood. The doors were marked out, so it still has the original pattern. You know what, Ross? Yes, I have seen that too, and it looks great. I was just playing around with some ideas. I was thinking about building a mid-century modern, like credenza or something like that, and doing that same thing. I have some pretty funky black walnut. How you like that? Funky black walnut in the shop that I was thinking about doing something very similar with. Chad says, oh, sorry. I just go off what Mike and Dylan say. LOL. Yeah. So yeah, that I've been wanting to do those. I think those look so sweet too, especially if you had the hardware where you press and it bumps back and releases, so you don't have any hardware. It looks like a river table in the front, but they're cabinet doors. Really cool. Whoa. Guys, if you have any more questions, feel free to just throw them in there. We're about to wrap up here, but I want to say before we go, join the 2x4 challenge. I want to see what you guys got. I'm sure you guys would like to enter to win. And I would like to see what you guys have in store. It's always really fun seeing your projects. I want to give a shout out to the other guy who already sent in their project. Do me a favor real quick, smash that like button. Give me some more likes up there. Thank you guys for supporting this channel as you guys do, watching the videos, coming here on our live streams. That's really appreciated. Let me get to one question real quick. Law of Love says, when does the challenge end? The challenge ends July 3rd. So at midnight on July 3rd, it will be over. Great question. So guys, go ahead and enter that contest. We'd love to see your projects, and I know you guys would like to win. Real quick, John says, when I finish my current coffee table project, I'd like to try something with resin LEDs and a table. Have you done anything similar? Yes, I have. But the weird part is trying to get the light to shine through the way that you want it. So just to put that out there. I'm not super experienced with it. I've done it a few times, but nothing crazy. But that night light was one of the ones I was going to show you guys I'm not fully finished with, but just stay in tune with that. But once again, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. Really enjoy you guys hanging out and just chit-chatting and answering questions. It's always super fun. Do me a favor, go over, follow me on Instagram at Goodview Woodworks. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, do me a favor and subscribe. Also, if you're not over and part of the Goodview Woodworks on Facebook, there's a ton of projects over there. People are sharing and asking questions, and if you have questions, you can ask over there and post your stuff. So thanks again. Aaron says, Mom, where's the meatloaf? Chad says, thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Nathan. I have a small budget, so I can't do this challenge. I'll try to do the next one if I have some resin by then. So, all right, guys. With that being said, I'm out of here. You guys have a good evening. Thanks for hanging out with us, and I will catch you on the next one. Bill says, what was the private thing? It's Goodview Woodworks on Facebook. It's called the Goodview Woodworks Community Group. It's a private group. All you have to do is answer a couple of questions, and you can check me out over there. So Wiley says peace, and Jovan says wait. What's up? Go ahead if you have a question. I'll stay. One more. If you got a question, I'll stay. And after that, we'll bounce up out of here. All right. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out of here. Thanks, Linda. Appreciate you too.